Hello and welcome to This Week in Frax. Today is June 22nd and it's me and
June
DeFi
23rd.
Dave. 23rd? No, it's 22nd.
I mean, well, it's going to be
Oh, well,
released.
oh yeah, sorry. Let's try that again.
Yeah.
It's Friday. Hello and welcome to This Week in Frax. Today is June 23rd for everyone out there, and I am here with DeFi Dave. Kit is on his honeymoon, and we'll be back
He's on his
next
honeymoon.
week.
Yeah. Honeymoon for on a busy week he's missing.
Yeah. A very busy week. Actually, there's been a lot of discussion this week, and we have a main character enter the chat who I don't think we've talked about before. So
He's been
if you don't,
around though. Yeah. But yeah, go ahead.
yeah, if you don't remember, last week, Sam Kazemian, founder of Frax Finance, proposed that they allocate $2 million to the TWAM to buy back Frax shares over a 5-month period. And while this potentially has marked the local bottom in the Frax shares price for yet another time, there was some people in the community who thought that the buybacks should be done a little bit differently. And notably, this is main character for the week, Ouroboros Capital, who has been active in the community, but this week has taken on the mantle because much of what we're talking about comes from him. He pinged into Sam and essentially said, "Oh, hey, this 20 million is not that much, right? It would make sense for us to actually deploy it a little bit faster." And so he went back to do some research and found that over the past, let me pull this up. So over the past however many, like past years, so since the Luna collapse, I'm just going to bring this up. Can I make this bigger? Let me open this in a new tab just so I can show this.
I really like that meme that was posted in the chat of Frax buybacks, and then it's like, like $15 million of volume, and then they smack on the tape,
Okay,
and it's like 13K of buy pressure or 15K a day.
this one, yeah, this
Yeah,
one.
yeah, that one.
Yeah, that's actually what's talked about in the thread. So coming back to the thread, it's called Optimizing FIP 77's TWAM Parameters, and Ouroboros Capital goes back, and he found that Frax typically only stays below the $5 mark, between 4 and 5, over since the Luna collapse, for less than 30 days. So during that time period, it actually stays in that, below that amount, like very very quick time period. And he provides a couple of different examples, and there's some data down here. So first happened, yeah.
Sorry,
Oh,
I got rug there. But I was
oh
saying,
yeah, no, I
oh,
was just gonna
sorry.
run
I
through
was
the
saying,
dates. So the first time it happened, it was 2 days, and then 7 days, and then 7 to 18 days, 23 days, 15 days. So those are all the time periods that Frax shares has been below 5. So the idea that Sam would, or that Frax would deploy this $2 million buyback over 5 months, when, typically when it goes below 5, it's only there for a couple of days, doesn't really make sense. And so he proposed uh, to optimize the parameters to deploy it over 30 days. And he writes here that he proposed to deploy over 30 days a $1 million TWAM, buying only when the price is below 5, and an additional $1 million TWAM, and 1 month TWAM on top of it that buys below 4. So to have the full $2 million buying pressure, it would have to stay below 4 for 30 days. And
yeah. Can the T1 be programmed to
I
do
actually
that?
asked Sam this about whether the TWAM can, or like, so it can't be done now, right? It would have to be that the team would have to stop it, or they'd have to write some sort of gelato script or something uh, to implement it.
Exactly.
Shout out gelato. Uh, but he said,
Shout out
I actually asked him about
Arrakis.
that, and he said in the next version of the TWAM, they could implement price controls. So like, you could set a TWAM where it stops buying over $5, or you could set a TWAM where you only want to buy, in certain
Those
conditions.
conditions.
For now, it'd have to be managed by the core dev team, who is the one who deployed this. Uh,
Yeah, I wonder if they can. I guess if they're doing a buyback, like there's a few different options. Like it's like one's the TWAM. There's that other proposal. Um, what was the one with
Well,
the
we're gonna
puts
we're gonna get there,
and
right?
the?
So, uh, in the time
Okay,
period that Sam actually started the TWAM, I'm just gonna bring up TradingView here. Um,
yeah, it's gone up like almost
yeah,
30%, right?
it's gone up 30%. So let me pull up the chart. So I have a little arrow here. This is let me make this a little bit bigger. So this is Sam's message saying they deployed it at 2:01 p.m. It's right around here, right? And you can see a surge of activity.
That's a fucking
So
great
so
buy.
they deployed it right here, and from that time period, it's pretty much been up only. Uh, it's coincided with a rally in the broader markets as well too, but it seems that Sam's got the gift to call these local bottoms. Yeah,
Yeah. Like I said, like I was saying before I got rugged earlier, symbolically, uh, and and emotionally, the buyback meant a lot because it hasn't been deployed in a year. I know throughout the year, people are wondering, myself included, like, hey, like we have $18 million left. Like, when are we going to use it? Should we allocate it towards other things? But like now we see this precedent and being twice now of like, okay, under $5, deploy the TWAM. It's like,
yeah.
send it in.
And so there actually was a lot of chat on the Frax forums. I wanted to find this post by um, so Naptioner came and essentially said this is really what sparked it, right? So Naptioner was replying to uh, Ouroboros' Capital's posts. So OC essentially came out as Ouroboros Capital and referred to him as OC now. OC essentially said that TWAM buybacks had begun, and Naptioner comes in and says it's a $2 million buy with a 5-month TWAP, no impact at all. And so Ouroboros Capital essentially comes in and says, "I'm writing a proposal to change that now. Hold my beer." And this phrase is actually referenced by C2TP later on in the discussion. So he writes this big TWAM parameters discussion. There is some interesting
Hmm.
like comments. So Geronimo comes in and does a bit of math. Let me make this a little bit bigger. So he does a bit of math about intrinsic value of what Frax should be, and essentially comes in and says that the optimal buying point would be like, what is it? Like at about $3, right? To add an additional $380,000 to long-term holders of Frax shares. However, or OC comes back and says that we could optimize to try to get to 3, but it's probably never going to happen. And one thing I like that he said is, if we become too academic on these things, we will not end up being able to execute on any buybacks, which would then defeat the purpose of such a mechanism. Price is often not a function of
Hmm.
academic models. So if we could value a stock correctly, we would not have bad investors, right? So
Yeah. Yeah. Like this stuff is like more art than anything
exactly.
sometimes, right?
And so Sam, like later on, right? Sam comes in. Oh, so Derek actually makes a nice point as well too, and he's like, "I'm much more concerned about the long-term opportunities. I think the most likely outcome is 0, but the potential outcome for stable coins is measured in trillions. So the difference in a 250 or $350 million valuation isn't that meaningful. It's either going to be worth 0 or it's going to be worth a heck of a lot more than in 10 years."
Wait, so he says likely worth
He's like,
zero.
it's going to be either 0 or like Frax to 10,000 in
It's
10 years from
binary.
now. Uh,
Oh,
there was also some
yeah.
points being made about like, we have this $20 million. Why don't we just invest it? Like, why don't we just use it to make more money? But the question is like, will we make more money by buying back Frax shares, or can we actually invest that 20 million for something else? That's a different question, really, because this 20 million has already been set aside in a governance vote, so it can be used.
Yeah.
And I think that Sam realized that, and he comes in a little bit later in this thread, and he said that he wanted everybody to wait, and they're like 2-3 days. This was actually 4 days ago, but which is relevant. So he said, wait a
Hmm.
few more days. Let's get some more feedback. And he said that we shouldn't probably be buying above $7. So the TWAM should probably be,
Hmm.
$6 and under. And He also thinks about
Yeah.
So he also thinks about the duration as well too. So his thinking is that it's quite conservative. Actually, he doesn't know how long the bear market is going to be, and prices will remain depressed. He doesn't really want to spend all this allotment quickly and then sit by as like Frax shares continues to go down.
Yeah, and you still need to have
Yeah.
ammo.
So he wants to have. He knows that we don't have infinite dry powder. He says, and he doesn't know what macro is going to do. So he proposed to be a little bit more conservative. And this is, and C2TP actually popped in as well too. So C2TP agreed that the buybacks in like as an idea are a good idea. He did comment about the hold my beer comment that OC made before posting. He said this is a fun jab and it can be ignored. Good on you for having some.
He's such a ball buster, C2TP.
So he said it's not really to like. Well, this is actually a differing thing. So he doesn't think that these buybacks are to signal valuation to the market, right? He thinks it's just to like buy some Frax shares and put it into the treasury when it could be more worth more in the long term, right? But it's not really a signaling mechanism.
I think it's both. I think it's both. I think it's absolutely both. I mean, especially like last year when, you had all those shorts against FXS and like, something needed to be done to be like, hey, like
Yeah.
we're fighting back. like, and so like I think it's like definitely a signal. You can't say that it's not a signal to the market. Like the action in it of itself is a signal, and people will, whether it's even if it's like not supposed to be a signal, people will take it as a
Yeah.
signal as it is. So I like think it is a signal, but also like I agree with them. Yeah, it's like too practical. Like yeah, let's like buy some FXS
Well, I
because
do think it's a
you can.
signal, right? It
Yeah,
has to be like when
yeah,
when
it has to
yeah,
be.
when
It
you have
has to be.
your
Yeah.
key opinion leaders coming in and essentially saying like we're ready to deploy capital at these levels, it shows that they think it's
Mhm.
undervalued in the long term.
It's like literally everything that the Fed does, even like if they like lift a finger and like, leak it to the Wall Street Journal,
Yeah,
like that's a signal. Like
yeah.
all of it is
So like when
signaling.
the Fed did its
So,
uh, junk bond buying program, I don't think they actually bought any junk bonds, or maybe they bought like $100 million worth of junk bonds, but it was enough to move the market just on words alone. That it shifted investor confidence,
exactly.
which this might have done
Exactly.
by moving
Hmm.
the price of fractures 30% in a week. Um, so there's
Hmm.
more questions about like how long the buyback should take place and where it should happen. OC comes back and he says like he thinks this is a signaling mechanism, right? He's like the protocol emits
Yeah.
6,250 Frax shares. Wait, sorry, 6,250 FXS per day, which is about 11.4 million annualized based on $5 Frax shares. So this would, a $20 million deployment over an entire year would cover all of those emissions. But it would also cover the bribes and the help with the CR and that Frax shares has an input on, right? And so he thinks it's really important to show the community. And then he also explained his
Hmm.
30 days, and then he gave those prior dates that I mentioned before as well too.
I think the 30 days explanation is very rational, especially like pointing out like, hey, we have this is the window of opportunity, and this is where the windows of opportunity have been in the past.
Exactly. We there's only like a few time periods that this can actually happen, and once it's over, if prices go back to 10 and they never go back down again, we would have talked about buybacks in just for nothing, right? Yeah. So
Hmm. Exactly.
there's a lot of questions about this, and I'm sure that it will continue. One thing that is up is that the finalized proposal is now live after a week of discuss.
It's on Snapshot.
So let me see. So it has been. Let me check this. I believe he created a new thread. So he created a new thread where
Hmm.
he essentially put the final proposal, and that was 3 days ago. So it should have 4 more days, and then it will go to vote. So it's
Okay.
FIP 253. One comment that came right at the end, and I'll pull this up now, is that Jake from Bastion Trading came in and said, yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
proposed a
yeah.
different idea. He
That's what I
was
said in
like,
the beginning.
don't do a TWAM. Like, you may not even use those TWAMs. What you should do is you should enter into an agreement with Bastion, who will essentially buy puts from the protocol, right? So this is called like a cash secured put. A cash secured put is essentially like you have money and you sell puts to somebody else, and then they have the right to exercise those puts at some time at the price level that you sell them at. Essentially, it's like insurance. So, say that you want to buy. It's good if you want to like buy whatever asset you're buying at like a certain price. So, say ETH price today is.
So it's like a limit order?
Kind of. Yeah. So say the ETH price is like it's like $1,900 today. Say you want to buy ETH at like $1,800. You can sell a put, a cash secured put. So you'll collect a little bit of money, right? And if the price is below 1,800 at the time of exercise, then you essentially just buy at 1,800, regardless of what the price is. It could be 1,700, right? But you're buying at 1,800, and you get a little bit of premium. If the price is above 1,800 at the end of the exercise time, you just keep the premium, and it's, you just keep all your money, and you make a little premium. So it's good if you have a clear idea of where you want to buy at. And so what the Bastion team did is they came in and they proposed, where is this? A cash secured put. You can see this tab, right? Yes. So they proposed setting up these cash secured puts. They talked about what their firm does. And essentially, they want to have the right to buy Frax shares at certain prices. They gave this graph as like as an example, right? So this was when the price was trading at like 5.8. They essentially want to create strikes at like $4.90, $4.80, $4.70, $4.65, and $4.50 with like different day structures. And they would pay a premium to have those puts. So you can see the premiums over here. And, that probably is close to what they should be priced at. I would want to see more about their calculations about where they're getting their volatility pricing at. But Frax could sell these puts and collect the APY by selling them. And if in the case that the price goes below one of these at the expiration date, then they would just swap the $200,000 or $200,000 worth of Frax for the Frax shares at the strike price.
Yeah, but didn't he get a comment in the chat? Someone's like, "Watch out for this proposal. It's not as good as it seems."
It's not a good proposal if the price goes down a lot. So if we choose all these strikes like between 4.9 and 4.50, and then all of a sudden the price goes to 3, the Bastion Trading Group has made a lot of money. On
Yeah, I wonder if where their price targets for FXS are. And like, I haven't seen Bastion trading in the community too much,
not either,
but like Ouroboros. So like, I tend to lean more towards the TUM optimization, and I do support it. And I think it's generally agreed that it should be optimized. It's just a question of how.
So I don't know. I mean, I don't know who their people are. Their website is pretty general. So, and they've not really been in the community a bunch. So,
yeah, exactly. Get in the community.
So that was another offer that came in. So there are some competing ideas about how this $2 million should be put to use.
Yeah, I wonder what we'll be talking about next week.
Probably these buybacks still. It's going to go to vote.
Yeah.
One person who did comment on this was Adam Cochran, who posted a short tweet thread, which I'll pull up right now.
Do you comment on that or Fraction?
It was a little bit of both. So he was commenting on the block.
Everyone's favorite threader.
So he got this FrxETH thing a little bit wrong. It's like 100,000 a month in fees, not $1 million in fees right now. But he is right. Frax2L2 is coming. and most L2s are worth over $1 billion and are gaining $100 million a year in sequencer fees. That is true. So if FrxChain does become like them, it'll have that additional revenue. He thinks it's pretty undervalued, but there was a little bit of drama that was started down at the end where he said, he's talking about Frax. He's like, they're a scrappy team. They keep launching stuff.
Scrappy. The scrappy in the ship.
And just keep clawing their way up the hill. But then he says, they get griped that their new products are just forks, but the products consistently get use and generate revenue and lead to growth. That's product market fit. So, yes, they have
He meant it as positively, but he was wrong about calling it forks.
Sam popped in and said, love the take, and he agrees. But he wants to point out that none of the sub protocols are like forks in any sense. They're all coded from scratch, and they have specific innovations for the unique purpose of playing into the original or like overall Frax vision. So like he points out Fraxland coded from scratch, a bunch of stuff that nobody else has in how it's created, like its modular interest rate and Oracle customizations, isolated lending, even before Compound V3 launched. And then he also talks about the AMOs as well, too, which is like what we had for months before Maker put out their D3M modules. So, yeah, Sam just goes on and says, like, Frax could have created like an NFT marketplace, but they didn't. You know, they could have gotten on a bunch of other derivatives desks, but they didn't. So everything that they built is to accomplish the Frax's idea for a $1 trillion TAM.
It's very purposeful, everything they build. And I mean, that's been the drum they've been beating all along. And, you know, Sam has said that before on the podcast. He said it on other podcasts. And like everything is, it's like, it's best to think about everything Frax has built. It's not as separate products, but all different parts of the same whole.
What do you think about buying FrxChain.eth, which was posted?
Bro, I looked for Fractal.eth. Someone snatched that up June 17th.
The day that you
I was so pissed. I think, yeah. Oh my God.
You had a great idea and you didn't buy the ENS name.
I didn't, I mean, like, shout out the person that bought it, but damn. I just bought DeFi Stallone.eth. I think that was a pretty good one. Stallone, like, you know, because I have Sylvester Stallone as my profile picture, but like, Fractal is a great, I think that'll be, I hope it's a name. Now, like, just because someone else has the ENS, I'm like, they should just, like, you know, the FrxChain is ways off anyway, but it's just like, you know, we'll see what the final name is.
So,
it's interesting how fast the news just hopped on that story from us.
It took 2 days.
Like, just everyone's just like, yeah, it took 2 days. Yeah, that was like really trippy to stuff. Yeah, FrxChain, like, they hopped on and it started like a whole new news cycle to stop talking about like L2s and AppChain thesis, FrxChain alone, which really shows the point where Frax is like, they don't really need, you know, I guess we're their, you know, amplifiers, but it's not like traditional PR in a way. But I feel like the next time we hear about FrxChain won't be a while from now. Like, yeah, you hear murmurs of it. Like, probably like the next Frax news will be the BAM.
I don't think so. Sam's been talking a lot about FrxChain, and I'm just going to pull up.
He loves FrxChain. I mean, he's been talking about that. He's been talking about that with me privately for years.
So, Ouroboros Capital, again, I told you he was like the main character for everything this week. He asked Sam. He was like, what apps do we see building on FrxChain? Sam came out and said, day one, there's going to be Frax, FrxETH, FPI, Fraxland, FraxSwap, BAM, and FraxFerry, all in day one. He said that's a given. And he said, as for the extended ecosystem and developer support, we'd like to see sophisticated DeFi infrastructure and financial products, privacy tech, and bleeding edge innovation there first before the higher level fun stuff.
I think they should have the fun stuff too.
Sam,
I think.
I was
go ahead.
say, like, Sam is incredibly bullish on FrxChain.
Yeah. Two things. One, you can tell Sam has really thought about something if he gives like a detailed answer. Like remember like the Frax BTC news and like you asked and like he gave this whole detailed like scenario of like what it would look like, and then we had like a whole special on it. Um, and two, I think you should have the fun stuff too. Like I was just talking to my friend Peach. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we were all with each other. Um, and we were talking about like, how to attract users to your chain. Like users just like want to have fun. They want to like, ape into you know, they're ready to ape
Yeah.
into Ponzi's and whatnot. And I'm not saying like bring them to Fraction, but I'm just saying like you can have some pretty interesting token experiments, maybe leveraging the BAM, maybe leveraging Fraxland, maybe these different primitives. But I wonder the real question is by the time Fraction comes out, what does the user base look like? Like, what does the appetite of the user base look like? Like right now, we're at the end of meme coin season. Now we're pumping on institutional news of BlackRock and whatnot. So it'll be interesting to see. Like, I would say Fraction will probably, because it sounds like they just the general mood or everything. They're trying to go towards more an institutional route. It sounds like they're going to more place themselves in like the latter, or be like, hey, like this is like a safe option. Like we're serious, to place to like park tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars and put it to work on Fraction. Um, and so it's like, will like DeFi be at that point where like the institutions will like go on chain like that? Maybe like under a year's too soon, but like, the ETF's like a good first step.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
don't know. What are your thoughts?
potentially the next narrative could be this McHenry bill that's coming out. The head of the Financial Service Committee, Representative Patrick McHenry, wants to end the crypto quagmire in Congress. So he's pushing.
The
Yeah.
quagmire, you say?
So he's pushing.
Giggity
Yeah.
giggity.
So
All
he's
right.
pushing really hard to have his bill pass within the next 3 months of Congress. So it could be that we actually get some really clear rules on stablecoins by fall, right? Which would be
I mean, yeah. Well, it has to go through freaking what's his name from the Senate Banking Committee?
Sherrod.
The guy from Ohio, Sherrod Brown. Yep. And that's gonna be tough. It's interesting, like, I mean, it's like right now crypto's framed as a, financial issue, but like I've heard murmurs of it possibly being like a national security issue, and like I wonder if like bills were like put in like those committees instead of financial committees, if it would have a better
Yeah.
chance of getting passed.
But apparently, legislation is just going to be weeks away. We'll see what happens in the next month or two.
Yeah, they have the power to because now like, McHenry's the chair, and then you have French Hill as the sub chair of digital assets, so it would be good to see. Like definitely promising. Good we have
Other
allies
story
there.
that happened this week is that the Fed master account list was published. Um,
Dude, that was so funny. Like there's just like a bunch of jank names on there of like, wait, this person's not even insured. Or at least the group. It's like they were grandfathered in. It's just like it's all and then it's like a lot what we already knew. It's like a lot of the Fed master accounts is just discretionary, at the local decentralized level. It's like, oh, you can get an account, but you can't
exactly.
get an
It's
account.
very so like one of the reasons that they were denied is that the Custodia, Custodia, who we've talked about
Custodio, yep.
on this show before, uh, was told that they didn't have deposit insurance, and so they would be denied. But if you looked at the list, over 414 banks don't have deposit insurance. Uh,
414 banks. Banks.
so it could help Custodia's case after which Custodia just won a third motion to dismiss or to not, or they survived it, I should say. So there could be more interesting developments
Chaim.
coming from them over this Fed master account list. So Custodia spokesman Nathan Miller told Cowboy State Daily in an email, the Federal Reserve's master account list, which the Fed was forced by Congress to make public, includes stunning details that suggest Fed leadership
Stunning.
has been operating beyond its legal authority. Namely, the list includes 414 uninsured institutions, as well as a number of non-depository institutions who Miller said appear ineligible for a master account to begin with. And yet they received one, Miller said. It's no wonder the Fed fought tooth and nail to keep the database hidden from the public for years. The The Fed's unlawful denial of Custodia Bank's application for a master account is all the more glaring in light of today's revelations.
I didn't realize. Do you know the exact details of why the Fed released this? Congress allegedly forced them to
I don't
release
know
it.
how it came through Congress, but yeah, they got yeah
Yeah,
pushed out.
but if anything, this also shows getting a Fed master account might not be as hard as we
So
think.
here's it says later in the story, public release of the master account list was a product of an amendment introduced by former U.S. Senator Patrick Toomey, a Republican from Pennsylvania. He said the
To me,
legislation was
hell yeah!
necessary to force transparency from an uncooperative agency. Yeah.
Shout out to me, one of the OG
So
allies.
maybe you can tell me this. This was actually posted by Travis this week. He posted
Hmm.
this. Do you know what this is? Is this Fraxbonds? Okay.
It's
It's
for
not Bitcoin.
bonds.
If it was Bitcoin, it'd have the two. So there's Fraxbonds coming.
Yeah, I don't see it on the
You don't
screen.
see the screen share? Okay, hold on. I'll
No,
here. It's let me share this to you. I'll share. Well, you've got the phone.
nope.
Anyways, it's a B with the Frax logo. I'm
This
pretty
has been
sure it's
frozen.
bonds. Yeah,
Oh, there we go.
pretty sure.
It's bonds. It is bonds.
Sam's talked about them in chat
I
before, but uh, they kind of like lost their shine once the curve ammo came about.
Yeah, I mean they were first talked about like right when the protocol was released, like back in like early
Mm-hmm.
2021. Um, and then I think they put it to the wayside, and then I remember Olympus and Olympus bonds became like the big thing. Um, but I wonder if it's a protocol maturity point of like, oh, it wasn't mature enough to have bonds yet, but now the protocol's at a point where they can issue bonds, and it's just like a matter of getting the auction mechanism right for the bonds. But like once they do that, then once they figure that out and a few other things out, then like I can see bonds being a very
I just don't
popular
know like
product.
what they would be for in the current market, right? So essentially, like a bond, you're giving your Frax to someone, maybe the protocol in this case, and they're paying you back Frax plus an interest rate. You back your principal plus an interest rate at the end of the term.
Hmm. I don't know.
Maybe as locked liquidity becomes like less needed once the CR hits 100, bonds would be an interesting way to uh, essentially like lock up Frax, right?
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's where they're going with this too.
I don't know. It's no other information was provided, and we will just
Just a screenshot, in classic Travis fashion. Just literally, just like just drop screenshot in the chat, post some chickens, bounce.
so elusive friend of the show Tetranode posted this during the week.
Oh,
What does
he's
Frax Finance think about a Frax Shares FPIS Frax base pool tri crypto pool? So he said this would unify the house tokens and force the R vector through Frax base pool. Dog fooding pools are the most efficient pools from a DAO point of view.
That's a funny meme. I think it's an interesting idea. FTIS has been performing very strong, honestly, over the past several
As
months.
who says it? I forget who says it in chat, but they essentially say that there's like 5 people that own FPIS and none of them are selling.
Oh, that's really funny. It's a good coin. It really is a good
It's
coin.
performed very well in these market conditions. Probably because the only
Yeah.
pair that it has is
I mean,
against Frax, and it's not ETH. And so, as ETH goes up and down, like the only way, like it just, yeah, it
it's
stays unaffected.
unaffected. Yeah, that was your call. So kudos to you for calling that out at like almost a dollar. Was it
Yeah,
dollar five, dollar
yeah, it was
ten?
dollar something. It just didn't make sense.
I mean, yeah, it didn't make any sense. And they have like the equity that we go over every week. They have like $4 million in equity. Like it's a cash generating
Yeah, I
protocol.
already paid
So
back probably almost half of the loan that I took. to like to pay for the FPIS, right? Like it doubled in price, and then it's yielding what started at like 300%, and now it's down to like 60. So even if it yields 60%, I'll get 120% of my money back from the in income. It's great. I just have to wait 4 years to get my FPIS back. Seems like a
Oh, well, I'm in the convex pool.
still a good one as well too. Speaking of convex, the peg,
Yeah.
the CVX Fraxshares peg is actually restored. Nomada Amador posted that the CVX price had returned to 99% of the Fraxshares price, peg restored. If
I guess those initiatives that C2TP and the Convex boys did a few months ago, because they posted a proposal of like, hey, like we're going to undergo these activities to get it back to a peg. I
did work.
guess they
Remember, it was
worked.
trading at something like a 40% discount.
Like,
So
yeah, yeah. And people
yeah,
were pissed. People were
uh,
pissed. Yeah, and then like they probably had like more pressure from alternatives like Snakedown and
next
whoever
on the
else.
list is get the pitch FXS peg back to 99%.
Oh yeah, God, I
One
wish.
day, one day.
Mhm.
And I think that's it. Let me run through my notes. Yeah, that's it. So there's a couple of other proposals that are up if you want to go through the governance forum. Most importantly, Flywheel has a grant amendment.
We've- Yes, yes. Put in a grant amendment halfway through 2022. It's two parts. Um, One is some additions to the grant. So we've been doing this show this week in Frax every week, and want to do it through the end of the year. We asked for an extended budget for events because that has proven to be one of our most successful initiatives for on behalf of the Frax protocol. And also we have another thing for fixing Sam Casbot because that is a very essential part of the Frax. Even before us, that was the Frax's like lone official marketing. So like those three things, and also to amend the payout, which going from Llama Pay and lump sum at the end of the year to something normal like monthly monthly payout. 50% Frax, 50% FXS, and that FXS is based on the 30-day average. So we've received some support in the proposal. Everybody watching this, please comment on the proposal for support. It goes like a long way and helps us continue to operate as we do. We're Fraxmas through and through. It's our home base. We love what we do, and we hope to, keep on doing it with these small adjustments. And also,
Shout out
there's,
Chuck
yeah, go
Beard
ahead.
for his comments.
Chuck
He
Beard, yeah,
says it's because of Dave Kit and Sam that are the gateway to Frax public awareness that he himself, probably as
that's
close to
right.
a normie as crypto enthusiasts can get, and others are able to stay aware of the happenings in the Frax ecosystem. Having them as essentially the Frax PR team is a great move. I support this amendment and the Flywheel team's continued support of the Frax ecosystem.
Yes. Comments really do go a long way. Like, the core team does pay attention to them, and like they'll adjust.
Thank you, Chuck Beard. There's
Thank you, Chuck
one other
Beard.
proposal which is in the forms, which actually there's two more that we'll talk about. One is this: add a future FrxETH pool for on the swap v2 to Fraxshares gauge controller. So I don't think we've talked about swap before.
I don't know. Drake just retweeted them. We're
So
really
swap
excited
is a
about them.
non-custodial RFQ market making infrastructure offering optimal liquidity services that is launching soon. So yes, on
Soon,
Polygon.
TM.
Oh wait, no, sorry. They are on Polygon already. So Swap is already on Polygon, but they're going to be launching V2 soon. So they're going to be launching a FrxETH pair on Swap V2, which will provide for better execution, and they want to gauge for that, which will probably pass. Gauges are pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
There is a ZUSD Frax base pool controller gauge going through.
Mm. Nice, nice. Yeah, I saw that got
Is it
passed.
is it actually
Or
passed,
going to get
or
passed.
is it up for a vote?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's great.
Um, oh, we also had an amendments to uh, the Frax ecosystem education program. Um, we made like a few amendments. You can check there. Nader and I, based off the activity of the past two few weeks, we wanted to like change some things, and so you can like go ahead see it there. Uh,
So just the iPad is going off over here. 1 second.
yeah,
And then,
yeah.
yeah,
If anything, and then
there's another proposal to raise the fees on the sunsetted Fraxland pools up to 50% to drive even more Frax out. So one of the things that's happened is that these pools have been sunsetted. Frax cannot come into the pools anymore, but there's still a lot of Frax that's being lent into those pools. And so this is essentially going to raise the fees on the interest income that's being earned, and it's going to go up to 50%. So there'd be even less incentives for people to keep their Frax there. To pull it out,
who's still in
losing
there?
like 25%, 50%. Like, why would you pull it out?
That's true. Oh yeah, it's true. I mean, I guess like who's borrowing there?
Who still has their ETH? They're paying 50% a year to hold those loans. I don't know. That one,
I don't know.
actually, you know
It's
what?
siloed.
I don't know how I feel about that one. So the Frax core team has put this up. Like,
Mm.
I don't think it's on the Frax core team to decide about how long those loans should go. Like, I'm looking.
I mean, but they are trying to encourage people to like close. It is a sunset
It's
pool for a reason, and they want people out of it. So I guess this is like the proper incentive to
but
get them out of the pool.
just leave it. It'll close at some point. Like, so this is the stake FrxETH sunset pool specifically that they're talking about,
Hmm.
and this pool has a total borrow of somebody's borrowed $350,000 worth of Frax from it. Yeah,
Oh, Jesus.
and so yeah, I know.
Bro, what are
And
you
so there's an
doing?
additional 180,000 Frax that's sitting in that pool. It has
Mm.
an APY for the borrows, or sorry, the lender APY is like 32% right now. So, like, why would you exit this pool? Just let it go. It'll get liquidated at some point. Other
Yeah.
people that have this, maybe the person like forgot about their stake FrxETH or lost their private keys or something. Like,
Hmm.
it's,
Maybe it's in a boating accident.
the team is essentially like
Yeah,
forcing the donation of this position to the Frax protocol, which I'm mixed about. Yeah.
I support.
Okay. Well, that's gonna wrap it up. It's actually a lot this week. This usually we go
Yeah,
usually
this is a longer episode. It
45
was
minutes
40
tops.
minutes,
Um,
but almost. But if you want to catch
wait.
every
Where
episode
are you?
and then oh, I am in Waterloo, Canada. This is my hotel room. I just arrived. I'm going to see all the young gigabrains at ETH Waterloo, and encourage them to enter the Fraxbound
Mm-hmm.
Hackathon, which you should too if you have a project. I actually, I think that this would be a really good idea if someone just like does SFrax ETH. Like every time somebody like sends a transaction, it automatically like takes part of the fee and puts in SFrax ETH for you. So it's like, like like put it like the change something. That would be a cool project. Anyways, enter that. Make sure.
Is
Wait,
that
what are you gonna
is that
say?
Vitalik's favorite conference? I think it's his hometown, right?
I don't know. I don't know what his favorite.
Oh,
No,
okay.
this is where he went to school. This is where he dropped out. Um, he's from like Toronto originally and from via Russia. But anyways, if you want to catch everything Flywheel, make sure you give us subscribe, give us a bell button so you get all our notifications. Like, comment, let me know what you think. If you love it, hate it, everything in between. Follow us on Twitter at FlywheelDeFi. Join the Telegram conversation at FlywheelDeFi. You can follow me on Twitter at
And you can find me at
DeFiDave22.
traders_insight.
And we will see you next week and every week. Peace.